Welcome back, everyone, to Seahawk Central News, your source for the latest in local news and entertainment. I'm Trevor Bray.
And I'm Anna Phillips. Remember to check us out at tealtv.org and on our Facebook page. Seahawk Central News airs every Monday through Thursday on both TLN and the Seahawk channel.
Stay tuned for a peek at the contestants of Dove Idol, a special film studies lecture, and Logan Spaller's inside scoop of the annual North Carolina Jazz Festival.
Don't forget to check out our sports show on the half hour where Trey Owings will let us know what's happening in the wonderful world of sports.
Stay tuned because Seahawk Central News starts right now.
The Grammy Awards show is always an exciting time for our country. With performances by Rihanna, a Bob Marley tribute band, Maroon 5 and Alicia Keys, Elton John, Mumford & Sons, the Lumineers, and many more, this year's show is no exception. In case you missed the show, here are some of the big winners. Album of the Year went to Mumford & Sons for Babel. Best New Artist and Song of the Year went to Fun for We Are Young. Adele won Best Pop Solo Performance for her live rendition of Set Fire to the Rain. Best Rock Performance as well as Best Rock Song went to the Black Keys for Lonely Boy. In the world of country, Carrie Underwood received Best Country Solo Performance for Blown Away, and the Zac Brown Band received Best Country Album for Uncaged. With much discussion about lip singing continuing after the Super Bowl, the Grammys were point blank about their performances being strictly live, and they certainly didn't disappoint.
Homecoming is an exclusive American tradition that a majority of high schools, colleges, and universities all partake in. UNC Wilmington will honor the ritual this upcoming weekend with sporting events, a parade, the crowning of the homecoming king and queen, and many other entertainment events. The homecoming parade will kickstart Saturday's festivities at 4:30 p.m. Tailgate will provide drinks, games, food, and music for viewers to enjoy while watching the parade stroll by. Then at 7, UNCW's men's basketball team hosts the Northeastern Huskies. The night still continues after the game with an alumni homecoming dance at 9 p.m. in the Bernie Center with live music from the schoolboys. Events spill over to Sunday too with the women's basketball team facing Georgia State at 1 p.m. For more information on additional homecoming activities, visit UNCW alumni webpage under the 2013 homecoming section.
UNCW film students have been given a rare opportunity. The Film Studies Department has partnered with Intellect Books Publishing to offer students access to Film Matters, which is the only undergraduate peer-reviewed film journal in the world. A special presentation was held in the Clock Tower Lounge on February 5th, from where we have Aki Suzuki reporting. Aki?
Hi. I'm here today at the Fisher Student Union just outside the Clock Tower Lounge. Today we'll be celebrating the commemoration of the UNCW Film Studies Department's collaboration with Intellect Press. The celebration will feature 2 new publications, a directory of world cinema France, and also Film Matters. In addition, there will be speakers from the Film Studies Department, both faculty and students.
Well, I took a class last semester, Film Matters, and the students in that class make up the editorial board for the journal Film Matters.
We approached Intellect with this idea. The pitch was, it's a peer-reviewed journal, just like academics. We review submissions and are published. This is our job. But the idea was, well, let's do this for undergraduates. Have them peer-review submissions. Have them carry out and publish and write for it. Exactly.
Great.
So as far as we know, it's the first one in the world. Students, majors in the Film Studies Department get the opportunity to be, they work on the editorial board of the journal. They learn about film publishing.
Well, you know, the journal gives students evidence and not only the experience of being able to actually publish something and seeing that the writing that they're doing isn't just an exercise to show the teacher whether they know, whether they're retaining the information they're getting in class. It's a real-life application.
The great thing about the internship specifically is that it gives you a lot of hands-on experience. They're a smaller company, so they really rely on interns to help keep the machine going.
I've really enjoyed learning the publishing process and just having some more experience with marketing, and just having the chance to write and be published is a great opportunity.
The event was great. We have so many events for our film screenings, and a lot of our events are sort of based around films that our students and our faculty are making. It was really great to have something that acknowledged all the scholarship that was going on and all the publishing that we're involved with. We had a lot of students who are just entering the program, so it was really good for them to hear about all that.
It's been tremendously successful. We've had submissions from all around the world. We feel like we're finding an audience, and it's really great.
It's so great to see the students' involvement on campus and just how much the Film Studies department here has grown at UNCW. For now, I'm Maki Suzuki, Seahawk Central News, Teal TV.
Nemo just kept snowing as the Northeast combated 2 days of the nor'easter. Snow began on February 8th, and a state of emergency was declared in all the states of New England region and in New York. Thousands of flights were canceled thanks to the high winds that peaked at 89 miles per hour and heavy snowfall. Connecticut received the brunt of the blizzard, where the town of Hamden recorded 40 inches. Boston logged its 5th highest total for snowfall with 24.9 and its 4th highest storm surge of 4.2 feet. Over 700,000 people lost power as the winter storm claimed 15 lives.
Dub Idol kicked off once again in Keenan Auditorium on February 13th. Before the show, a hometown party was held in Wagner Hall where the contestants could practice, get ready, and show off their talents. Our Katie Nimmerich was there to check it out. Katie?
Dub Idol is back for a 7th season, and the contestants have been picked and have only one more round before a winner is picked. The coordinators and contestants have gathered at WAG on February 6th for a hometown party so students can get to know the singers. I'm here to talk to the singers to see what really goes on behind the scenes.
The first audition round basically just showed up in Graham Hewlett and sang a song for some judges, and just kind of just talked about ourselves for a little bit.
We're singing 2 fun songs, We Are Young and Some Nights. So, I mean, they're going to be pretty good. We've been working real hard.
Well, I saw Dub Idol last year and I really enjoyed it, but I didn't really ever think that I would be in it. And I didn't really think about it too much until I was just walking through my building and I saw a huge poster in the lobby saying, season 7 auditions tonight. And I was like, tonight? I don't have anything to do tonight. So I just kind of went just for fun, just to see how it would go. I wasn't really expecting anything out of it. I just walked in, sang my song, and left, and I wasn't really expecting anything. And then a couple weeks later, I got an email that said, "Congratulations, you're a contestant for Dub Idol Season 7." So it was nerve-wracking and exciting and unexpected, but it was a lot of fun. As a whole group of 10 contestants, we are going to sing an opening group number and a closing group number. So we've had to learn those lyrics on our own and the music on our own, but also at rehearsals we've been practicing, playing around with harmonies. We've had someone actually come in and give us specific harmonies to do as well. And then on our own, we've had to pick our individual song that we're going to be performing and practice that. And then at the end of each meeting, sometimes a couple people will perform theirs, but we haven't really been practicing those a whole lot because that's more of an individual basis.
The contestants and coordinators had a lot of fun with raffles and sing-alongs, and these Seahawks are ready for the final round on February 13th. I'm Katie Nemrich with Seahawk Central News. Back to you in the studio.
In the midst of homecoming, reporter Hannah Brewer heads out to Chancellor's Walk for this week's Talk on the Walk to find out what students' most favorite and least favorite things are about UNCW. Hannah?
Hi, this is Hannah Brewer with this week's episode of Talk on the Walk. This week, we're asking students what are their favorite and least favorite things about UNCW.
Well, my favorite thing about UNCW is probably all the trees and that the campus is so beautiful. And my least favorite thing is that I don't get to see much of it because I'm always in the nursing building in class or studying.
My favorite thing is my program. I'm in the social work program, and we have a really good sense of community and everything there. My least favorite thing is definitely the parking, because I'm a senior this year and I'm still parking on the opposite side of campus, and I was told there's nothing I could do about it.
All right, my favorite thing about UNCW is the campus involvement, and it's just great to see a bunch of people and, just out on campus all the time and doing all these great extracurricular activities. And my least favorite thing is probably the wind, because it keeps on messing up my hair.
My favorite thing about UNCW would have to be the level of courses you can take here and the wide variety you have to choose from. And the location of the campus is here at the beach, so that's also a major asset. And least favorite thing would probably have to be campus dining. So
My favorite thing about UNCW is I like the people that go here, and there's lots of attractive women. And my least favorite is the fact that the gym is not open, and I have to pay to go to Gold's Gym. That's really annoying. But I do like UNCW in general. Also, another thing I don't like is nobody cares about sports. It'd be more fun if we had more school spirit.
My least favorite thing about Wilmington is kind of the lack of sports spirit, I guess. Like, I go to other schools and I see huge crowds of people getting pumped up for basketball or football. And I mean, it does get pumped up here a little bit, but it's not as big as a hype as over there. And my favorite thing, I guess that this place is beautiful and we're by the beach. And it's a fun place. There's always something going on.
Okay, my favorite thing about UNCW are the students, the great classes, the faculty, and the freedom they give us to explore our own interests in the social work department and our own majors. And I guess the worst thing is the 30-minute walk to my car. That's it. Like, great place though.
It seems like students really love our campus activities, although they do think there's room for improvement. This is Hannah Brewer with Seahawk Central News, TLTV. Back to you.
Though she be but little, she is fierce, says William Shakespeare in his classic play, A Midsummer Night's Dream. The UNCW Theater Department is putting on its own special rendition of the play the weekends of February 14th through the 17th and the 21st through the 24th. The revision by director Andy Belser is supposed to take the audience through the classic romantic comedy with a new twist, including our 21st century lives with social media. To see what this love story entails, you can get tickets from Keenan Auditorium or online. Shows will run at 8 p.m. with 2 p.m. matinees on Sunday.
Wilmington played host to the 33rd Annual North Carolina Jazz Festival this past weekend. No jazz cultures were excluded at the event, having musicians travel from Australia, Italy, British Columbia, and several U.S. cities. Our very own Logan Spaller heard samples of the world's tribute to the mix between African and European music. Logan, tell us more about the festival.
A piece of the American culture was brought to Wilmington, North Carolina this past weekend for the 33rd Annual North Carolina Jazz Festival. The event included a variety of performances from jazz musicians all across the world, as well as traveling guests in order to enjoy the festivities of the weekend.
I perform all around the world and around the States, and I love what I do. And here particularly, I love this festival because... Thanks, darling, thank you. Because the musicians at this festival are excellent, you know, and it's when you're playing with good musicians, it makes everything easy. Particularly this festival, what's great about it is Sandy brings in new people each year. So I haven't worked with some of the New Orleans musicians. I never get to see them because I live in Connecticut, you know. Right. And so that's what's cool too, is that you're on stage with, oh, and what is your name, you know? And then you get to play together, and it's a language, so you all know a certain kind of repertoire, and you work from that.
It's the one true art form that was developed right here in the U.S. that explains an awful lot about our culture. I mean, the roots that it comes from, and the creativity that's now there. I mean, it's all kind of a United States kind of thing.
So yeah, what happens is a lot of jazz festivals will bring out bands, and the bands will perform as a band, but here they bring out different artists and they stick everyone together. And so it's more spontaneous that way when you get artists getting up on stage, not rehearsing, because jazz is spontaneous music, so there's an extra element of magic in there.
We stress the fact that it's American music, and we really value that, and that's the basis. We're trying to perpetuate the music and keep it going with a younger audience, and bring it to Wilmington as well, bring people to Wilmington. So we're trying to keep the music alive. It's the only art form born in America that we can claim. So we're trying to keep the beat going with a younger audience.
The genre of jazz music is unique in that it brings a variety of people from various different backgrounds together under one roof. And that was clearly portrayed through the festivities this past weekend. Until next time, I'm Logan Spaller, reporting for Seahawk Central News, TLTV. Back to you.
Never a disappointment. This week in Critics on Campus, our own Chris Vickery and co-host Tucker Marsden are going to give us some insights into the latest movies, Warm Bodies and Identity Thief. Let's see what they thought. Chris?
Thanks, Anna, and welcome to Critics on Campus. I'm your host, Chris Vickery, alongside Tucker Marsden. Tucker, as always, we've got 2 movies this time around. The first of which was a comedy, Identity Thief, with Melissa McCarthy, and Jason Bateman. And it's about Melissa McCarthy stealing Jason Bateman's identity, and Jason Bateman trying to bring her to his town so she can be prosecuted and he can get his life back and all this stuff. And kind of a buddy comedy evolves through that, but what did you think of this one?
You know, to be honest, there's a lot of things I liked and a lot of things I didn't like about this movie. McCarthy was great. She's always funny, but I thought that this role wasn't maybe her best role ever. But I did think Jason Bateman did really well as his typical, you know, everything bad's happened into the nice guy kind of thing.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't really like about this movie is it kind of reminded me of the movie Due Date with Zach Galifianakis and Robert Downey Jr. You know, the whole road trip, buddy comedy thing. And that movie kind of wasn't my thing, so being reminded of that in this film kind of turned me off a bit. But I have to say, there were some great, really funny parts, but a lot to wish.
Yeah, and you know, the whole buddy comedy road trip thing, you know, has been done so much since Dumb and Dumber, you know, like all the way back then. And it's hard to beat Dumb and Dumber. Like, that's kind of classic buddy comedy. And really, this movie, for who it had in it and what they were kind of trying to sell through the previews, it should have been a lot funnier. I think that's the biggest thing.
I agree.
There were some great moments, and you've got some really good comedy actors in there that can hold the screen on their own. But overall, the script just wasn't funny enough. There were a lot of characters who didn't need to be there, a lot of performances that didn't stand out.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And overall, it's just a really forgettable movie.
Oh yes, completely. I would definitely say that. I would give it 3 stars if I had to say, because I did enjoy the funny parts.
Yeah.
However, there was a lot to be desired.
I'm going to give it 3 stars on the strength of Melissa McCarthy's performance alone. That's really the saving grace of this movie.
Truly.
But the second movie that we saw was Warm Bodies, which is a zom-com, as I'm told they're called, about, I forget the actors' names, but the main character is R, a zombie who is angsty. He's kind of got a person trapped inside of his zombie body, and he meets a girl who he falls in love with and tries to kind of find his humanity once again, and actually does start to change physically. But what did you think of this one?
Well, at first, coming into this movie, I wasn't really prepared for the whole love part of this. So I was thinking more of zombie movie, and I was, you know, kind of disappointed about the scary aspect of the zombies. However, I did like the way they portrayed the zombies as, you know, kind of stuck inside the body, and you know, they had these fleeting thoughts that were happening, but you know, they could never really have concrete thoughts. So it was kind of a cool aspect of it. And I like the way they went ahead and, you know, had the brains being sweet and bringing them memories, you know, kind of showing like why they are a zombie and why they act the way they do, and I like that take on it. And you know, the lovey, you know, kind of heart thing didn't really work for me that well. But as the movie kind of progressed, they kind of, you know, looked at it themselves in a more humorous way, and the movie kind of took more of a comedic route, which I did appreciate, and I grew to like the movie a lot more. So at the end, I was definitely feeling it a little more.
Yeah, I think there was a little too much romance and a lot too little comedy in this movie. And also too much music. Like, the movie just didn't really stand on its own. It kept trying to force a lot of other aspects into it that the story couldn't really breathe. And in terms of comedy, Rob Corddry, he just makes me laugh as soon as he's on the screen. And he's barely in the movie.
Yeah,
I think that's something that a lot of people will go in expecting to see, a lot of Rob Corddry, and he's hilarious when he's on the screen. He's just rarely there. And it's a movie that I feel like is really conflicted with itself. It doesn't know what it wants to be, and it suffers because of it. But out of 5 stars, what would you give this one?
I'm gonna have to give this one a 3. Also, at the beginning, I would have given it a 2, but it did grow on me a little. And yes, you're right. You know, they did need to commit to something more. I feel. You know, they had too much lovey and too much comedy, but not enough to make it a comedy or make it a love story. It felt really conflicted.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to have to agree, 3 out of 5 for this one. If you can make it through the first portion of the movie, the first quarter to a third, the rest of the movie is a lot of fun.
The characters grow on you.
They do, and it's a wild ride, so you will appreciate the rest of it. But you know, it's getting through that first half. You have to decide if you want to go to the theater for that.
Right.
So, but once again, you're watching Critics on Campus. I'm your host, Chris Vickery, alongside Tucker Marsden. This segment is brought to you by Carmike Cinemas. Back to you in the studio.
Is it selfish or selfless for a leader to step down? That's the question some people are asking of Pope Benedict XVI, who recently announced that he will be resigning as Pope of the Roman Catholic Church due to advanced age and declining health. It has been almost 600 years, since 1415, since a pope has resigned. Popes are in position for life and normally are not replaced until death. He has said he does not feel that he can physically meet all of the needs of the people and thereby wishes to resign and spend the rest of his time here in reflection, possibly at a monastery. Pope Benedict will be resigning as of February 28th at 8 p.m. The new pope will be voted upon by Pope Benedict's chief advisors, the cardinals. Of the 208 cardinals, only those under age 80 are eligible to vote. Depending on the date of the election, the number of voters may change, as some cardinals have 80th birthdays coming up very soon.
Now we turn our attention to politics with Jessica Ferrer, where she meets up with a former military officer for an interview in this week's segment. Jessica, what else do you have for us?
Hi Seahawks, and welcome back to another update on politics here on Seahawk Central News. I'm your host, Jessica Ferrer, bringing you the latest in local, national, and international politics. The North Carolina Senate has passed a bill that will fire the members of certain regulatory committees. This includes the Coastal Resources Commission and the Utility Commissions, among others. The bill will give the power to Governor Pat McCrory to replace these members himself. The Charlotte Observer reported that Republicans that wrote the bill say that this will allow the governor to pick people who have like-minded philosophies to the current administration, while the Democrats see the bill as a power grab. The bill is now in the State House for review. It's been almost a year and a half since Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed. Now the Pentagon is going to extend certain benefits, such as access to the on-base commissary, to same-sex partners of troop members. UNCW student Josh Kinchin is a former military serviceman and is active in the LGBT community. I interviewed him on what this means for the military and what he sees happening in the future.
I think what's going to happen next is just full benefits are going to be allowed for same-sex partners. Once DOMA is proved to be unconstitutional, I really feel strongly that the Supreme Court is going to be able to rule in favor of striking down DOMA because it is unconstitutional. You know, there's been plenty of, it's gone up the chain of courts from the district level all the way up to now the Supreme Court as being struck down as not being constitutional. So that's going to pave the way for everyone to be able to serve honorably and not have to worry about their family members in the way that they do now if they're in a same-sex couple relationship. Basically, it comes down to if you have the same expectations of the military members to do their jobs and to defend our freedom, they should have the same benefits as everyone else.
And where do you think, because you brought up the point that the military is considered conservative, why do you think a conservative entity is making these kind of liberal decisions?
I think it's not so much a conservative and liberal issue. It's just a human issue at this point. A lot of things were thrown around in the beginning about when they were repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell about military readiness and combat readiness and unit cohesion, and it really just goes to show you now, after Don't Ask, Don't Tell has been repealed, even the Commandant of the Marine Corps, who is one of the most vocal opposition to repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell, has come out and said, you know, I was actually wrong. You know, this is actually helpful because, you know, Marines can do their jobs without having to worrying about living a double life and having to, you know, potentially abuse drugs and alcohol to overcome this issue. They can now concentrate on doing what they're supposed to do, and that's being, you know, the best fighting force in the world.
And do you think this decision will be accepted throughout the military, or will there be opposition naturally?
Well, the wonderful thing about the military is you really don't have a choice to not oppose something that is mandated. You know, that, you know, you have to kind of follow orders and do what you have to do, and even if your personal feelings, you know, are against what's happening, you have to do what your orders are. And as we've seen with the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, a lot of senior leaders that were originally opposed to it have now got on board and said this is really good for the military and good for the country.
Although polls have shown that about 3/4 of Americans support drone attacks, not many support those attacks on U.S. citizens abroad. Using drones overseas to attack U.S. citizens abroad who are suspected of terrorist activity has been a tactic used by the Obama administration. The Farley-Dickinson University's Public Mind poll found that 48% of Americans think that this practice is illegal, and only 24% think that it's legal. The White House has released a memo justifying one attack on a U.S. cleric and member of al-Qaeda. Lawmakers have been asking to see this information before President Obama confirms his new CIA director. Thanks again for joining me on more updates in the world of politics. I'm Jessica Ferrer, and I'll see you next time on Seahawk Central News.
Earth will not be getting smashed by an asteroid, at least not this week. Science guy Bill Nye has warned the public that although we are free and clear of the recent asteroid scare, there is always the potential for another in the future. For this reason, he believes many more people should be on what he calls the asteroid hunt. The most recent scare involved a half-football field-sized asteroid coming within 15 minutes of Earth. If it were to crash, Nye says it would be enough to wipe out any major city.
The National Headliner Award winner for Best Magazine column recipient, Joe Klein, will speak at UNCW Monday, February 18th. Klein's honored column, In the Arena, detailed the issues surrounding veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan wars. The journalist will further discuss the issues current military vets asking, what can we learn about our country and about our time and about leadership for the newest, greatest generation? Join Klein at 7 p.m. in the Bernie Center for this important political dialogue.
A salsa Afro-Cuban urban dance company from LA is taking over Wilmington this month. For 2 weeks, the 11th through the 23rd, Contra Tiempo will be here for a community educational program. They'll be teaching public classes with salsa and step workshops at UNCW, as well as at the DC Virgo Preparatory Academy. The group will round out their stay by giving free performances to nearly 2,000 middle and high school students, as well as a final show at UNCW. That show will be on February 23rd in Keenan Auditorium, featuring their latest piece, Full Still Hungry. For more information, check out the UNCW Arts page online. And that brings this week's episode of Seahawk Central News to a close.
Don't forget, Seahawk Central News airs every day at 5 p.m.
Don't forget to go like us on Facebook and check out tealtv.org for all of the latest episodes. Until next time, I'm Anna Phillips.
And I'm Trevor Bray, saying so long, Seahawks.